Welcome to Legacy Unscripted, the podcast where sports and business collide. I'm your host, Russ Katzman, and here we'll skip the fluff and we'll get straight to the hustle. From athletes turned entrepreneurs to impact-driven business leaders, we dive into those wins, those lessons, and yes, some of the failures that make legacies worth living. No scripts, no filters, just raw, real conversations to inspire you to stop dreaming about your legacy and to start living it. With that, let's get into it. Today, I am happy to welcome CEO and founder of Warrior Golf Academy, Jonathan Sessa. John, good to see you.
Oh, Russ, thanks for having me. I thought you made up that whole introduction just for little mojo here. No fluff or anything. I was like, oh no, I got to put them away, right? But no, thank you for having me. I know this has been a while in the making and trying to get this set up. So I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
No, I appreciate you jumping on.
A little
so
mojo.
And Mojo, I appreciate you being on too. Give us a couple minutes of background on what is Warrior Golf Academy.
Sure. So Warrior Golf Academy is something that I created to basically help first responders and other disabled veterans, those coming out of service that want to use golf as a therapeutic means to kind of get back into the community and find a little bit more camaraderie, right? I think that's the biggest thing that I missed when I got out of the service was just connecting with people that were like-minded and that had the same type of background that I did and had been through some of the things that I've experienced and been through some of that trauma, and having a place for us to be able to get together in an area that's not going to be so stressful or something and just getting outside. The biggest thing is when you're outside and you're grounded and you're around other people, that's what gives us purpose, and that's what gives us the sense of belonging. And with both of those, I've found through my life experiences that with purpose and the belonging, and you found where you really are supposed to be, then not only does that make you want, but that gives you the will to want to live, right? And pretty morbid speaking right off the bat, right? But that's what I'm here to combat is have those tough conversations and let people know that I've been posting now, I said something like 17,000 first responders and veterans are taking their lives, heroes are committing suicide every year, and those are preventable deaths, right? 17,000. That's a lot. And those are from heroes that are out there, first responders and veterans and active duty service members and active police force and first responders like the EMTs, and just can't even imagine some of the things that they have been through. And the way that I try to connect to people is that you don't need to understand what I've been through or what you've been through. You just need to understand that emotion, right? And trying to capture that feeling from people is essentially what I try to do just now through this type of storytelling and awareness, and letting people know that you have to be coming together to help each other and help one another, instead of trying to just forge everyone apart. And there's so many things in this world today that are just driving us apart and reminding us that we're different and why I'm not like you or why somebody else might think they're better than some, but none of that really matters. At the end of the day, we're all humans, right? Like we were talking about before this, like animal world, and when it's their time, like poor little Mojo, when it's his time, he's going to find a calm little quiet spot and he's going to go lay there and just pass away. But sure. Not us humans, right? Us humans, we strive, we fight for it, we hold on tooth and nail, and we want those that we love around us. And a big thing that you can tell about someone's character is by who they have around them, right? And a lot of that is your energy and who you are as a person, and you attract the same likeliness. So that's what I'm trying to create, is that camaraderie back into the golf world that I had when I was in the military. And if I can offer that and help save somebody else, then that's a win.
I think that's a mic drop. I think we'll just stop the podcast there and just send your way. We'll send people to you. No, I appreciate
Oh,
it. And
thank
you and
you.
I have
Thank
talked
you.
about it. I mean, we thank you for your service. I'm sure everybody in the audience thanks you for your service. And I think the purpose that you use to fulfill this is just outstanding. And when I read about it, when you and I talked about it, I knew we had to have you on the pod. So
Oh, thank
why
you.
golf though? I mean, I love the idea of getting these guys out of the house, getting the first responders something to kind of give them some activity. But what is it about golf?
So I really like that question. Why golf? I started kind of my own little 2-minute podcast, you will, about it.
Sure.
Why I go and I ask other veterans, why golf, right? Out of every other sport or everything else you could do, why golf? And I ask the same thing about PGA professionals and stuff. Why golf? And then why veterans, right? Why are you giving back to the community? And what I found is, for me, golf I can tolerate, right? I can do it. And that's a big part of it is I don't have the patience to be a fisherman, or, I would be out there with like Project Healing Waters doing their fishing stuff, fantastic programs, but I'm just not that big of a fisherman. So I can't do that. Art, I love art, but I get kind of frustrated. I can't even do paint by numbers, right? And then it gets blurry to me and I can't see the things, and then it just gets messed up, and then I feel bad. But other people love that. So I like to use the analogy that, being here in South Florida, that we have all these little Florida keys, right? And everyone's got their own little island and everyone's happy being an island, but nobody wants to be that bridge, right? And well, that's me. I'll be the bridge, right? I'll be the resource between all the little islands and help you out. So you can reach out to me for anything that you need. But golf is my area of expertise. That's what I found comforting for me. When I step out on the golf course and I get my feet in the ground and I feel the grass and I smell the air and I get distracted by birds. I will find the one balloon that somebody let off in the distance that floats up into the sky, and like it grabs my attention, and that's wondrous to me, right? Just being able to stand there and just it's peaceful in that moment. And if you can find that calm and that peace in anything that you do, then that's your therapy. And that's why I was kind of taken back that golf hasn't been utilized like this before. It's a very frustrating game, don't get me wrong, but that's only if you're hard on yourself, right? You're only out there to compete against yourself. I don't have to be Tiger Woods, right? I don't have to be hitting the ball like Rory was on TGL last night. I don't have to be crazy like that, but I just compete with myself. If I put the time in and I can see the improvements in my own game, then I know that it's doing something. If I can go out there and I notice that I can just sit there and smell the clean air and know that the grass is freshly mowed and that there's wildlife running about, and it could be a busy, busy day on the golf course and I would never even know it because I'm just out there with 3 other people, right? Yeah. So just having that, and then really golf, it's maybe 4 hours. If you get caught in a long game, you could be out there at 5.5, and I don't like that. But really the amount of time you're playing golf is what, like 20 minutes, maybe not even, that you're actually like hitting the ball. The rest of the time you're socializing, you're spending time with other people. And that's the biggest thing that I'm trying to promote, especially by being that bridge, right? And just connecting people to what they want to do and what they're familiar with and what makes them comfortable and find their belonging and their purpose. If I can help them do that, then that's going to help them get out of the house. Yeah. And getting out of the house and into the community is part of what I'm trying to do. We need to eliminate isolation, bring that down, because isolation is the number one killer. If you're going to, especially, we just got through the holiday times, and I mean, I did a golf scramble I held and did a whole bunch of events and freebies and give me's and community events and engagement things. And it's all not for me, but as a community, to get everybody here in Boca Raton to come out and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. We're together. Come have some fun. I'll show you how to do it. You don't even have to be good at golf. That's why I have the whole academy. Right. I can teach you how to repair the golf clubs. It's very therapeutic to rip the handles off and take off the shafts and put a new one in there and re-clean them. You can repaint the golf clubs any color that you want. You can put new grips on any color you want, any size. So we can personalize the golf clubs. But then from there, I have caddy training as well. You can learn how to be a caddy if you just want to go along and say, hey, look, I can do this at a resort level for high, capacity players that are going to be coming through. Or we even have connections to help get you out if you want to carry a bag for one person, maybe on a tour or something. Maybe you don't have to be out there all the time, but you have, as a veteran first responders, I feel that we have the determination, the grit, the perseverance to not only make it through that, but at the same time, we have unique backstories, right? And that making you personable and being able to just talk to different people and then relate those stories and have a good time. That's what a caddy's all about. You're there to facilitate for your golfer, right? It's essentially customer service. Sure. You just make sure they have the best time as possible. And that's 4 hours of getting to know somebody else in one of the greatest environments in the world, the fresh cut grass, and it's just beautiful out there. So even today, being a caddy doesn't even involve hauling the bag and everything. I mean, I'm 100% disabled. I broke my neck, and I ride in a cart most of the time, or I can put the push cart on someone's bag, but I'm there to help them with their golf game on the course. And I feel like there's not enough people now that are going out of their way to just be that guiding and saving light for somebody, right? There's it's a fast-paced world now with all this technology and everything, and I think just slowing it down a little bit and making it more personal is the way that we're going to combat this thing, and getting people to get their stories out there and talk to one another and let them know that, hey, as a disabled individual with mental health struggles and things, the disabled population is the largest demographic in the world, right? It spans everything, all ethnicities, all backgrounds, all religions, all socioeconomic groups, however you want to put it. It doesn't discriminate against anybody. So with that being said, why everyone's so focused on other things that are driving people apart, but there's so many things that bring us together, and no one's really talking about that, right? There's some out there, like, we're with the no hair club, right? There's a men's club for, what is that? The no hair men's club or something is out there. There's clubs for all this stuff, right? So what we need to do is just become more inclusive and more open, and instead of arguing with each other, just be open to each other's perspectives, right? Because my perspective is my reality. Yeah. And your perspective is your reality. And sometimes they just don't match. And that doesn't mean we have to argue about it, but you could try to understand why, right? Maybe it was why I brought up, or maybe I'm looking at it a different way, and trying to just understand people, I think, is just fascinating. And I like to do that through golf. And it's very peaceful for me to have these conversations and relate to people and just be with somebody and be there, right? Like, actually just be there with them when they need it.
So I love the purpose behind it. I love the idea that golf brings that socialization. If anybody can stand there and appreciate the calmness of a golf course, it's got to be the first responders, right? Because when they are, in their situation, whatever the situation is, fire, police, overseas, in theater, security guards, everything, right? Any of those individuals, getting them out of that element and giving them something where it's just peaceful, right? And being able to your point, socialize with them, understand who they are as a person, not who they are as a warrior or who they are as a first responder or anything like that. Just who are you as a person? What can we do to just kind of make this a more pleasant experience for you? And I don't think enough people look at golf that way. I'll tell you, I get frustrated playing golf too. And to your point, it's probably because we're just measuring the wrong thing. We're looking at it the wrong way. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate the insight. I appreciate that view on it.
And I think that's one of the magical things about golf, right? Is that it gives you those moments of greatness where you feel like Tiger or Rory. And that's the thing, is why you get so upset, and why people like me have a teaching job, is because that only happened 1 in 100 times. You could hit it just perfect, and you would be like, oh my gosh. Or you hit that one putt and it goes in from like 30 feet, and you go, oh my God, like I feel like a pro, like bam, you hit, everyone's high fives, you're like, woo, shouting. And that instant camaraderie around everybody, it's just, everybody's happy for you. It's not like, oh man, you made it, and they're like upset. Like, even if you are in competition, you're just ecstatic for each other because it's an amazing feat that just happened. And it makes you feel like you could be playing with one of the big guys. But now if you go out there and John Smoltz throws a fastball, you're not going to feel like a pro, are you? Like, you're not even going to see this thing go by. But that's the difference, is I think that you can really get the essence every once in a while that, wow, I could be really good at this. And it gives you that. And then you just expect that you're going to do it like that all the time. But it takes practice, a lot of practice, and you got to enjoy. And I guess I relate it a lot to life, right? Golf and life. And they say it's not about the destination, but the journey, right? So to be good at golf, you have to not even be good at it, but you have to enjoy the practice. You have to enjoy being there and going over the mundane, do the same shot over and over and over again. So that way you know what it's like, you know how to react in a different situation. And it's really a mental game, right? Most of golf is played right here. They say the 6 inches from ear to ear is where golf is really played. And it's true. Your shot is made before you even get up there. And there's a lot of coaching programs now that are all about that. But I've realized that the things that when I get in that state, that just relaxed, calm state, and you have nothing in your mind, you're not thinking of anything, you're not, no swing thoughts or anything crazy, that's when you play the best golf. Right. And that's when you feel the best, and that's when you're the most calm and you're the most centered. And that feeling, I don't get that anywhere else, right? Don't tell my wife, but the golf course is
this is going to be published.
A sacred
you realize
place.
That, right? She's not allowed to.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I wish my wife would come and play golf with me, but she doesn't. So that's okay. She enjoys coming out, and we sit in the golf cart, and she comes and plays and participates by just being there, and that's more than enough. Yeah. I take Mojo out with me every time I go out playing, and let people know that you have to look at everybody a little bit differently.
Yep.
I get looked at a lot of times because I look like I'm normal, but I have a lot of underlying conditions and other issues. And for me, a lot of this stuff becomes very difficult. Even being on a podcast like this took me years and years to be able to build up the courage to come out and just talk about my story. It's not easy to get out and talk about disabilities and suicide and substance abuse and all of these dark things in someone's life, and then be able to mention that, hey, there's ways to help you, right? There's things out there that, like, I was taking opioids for 8 years because they were prescribed to me for my pain, and that I was like a zombie, just sitting there, just drooling at the mouth, not knowing what's going on around me. My daughter would come and find me in the garage while I'm waiting for food to come that nobody ever ordered, right? Like, that's not a life to live.
Right.
And that's like we were talking about before. I would much rather my mind be sharp and my body give up on me than my brain not be there and my body be fine. So I won't take those medications anymore. I found a more holistic way. I have to understand that I need to take better care of myself. I mean, even now, I probably should have put off our podcast considering that I had the flu and COVID, and I was just in the hospital last night. But like, I can't. You can't help other people if you don't take care of yourself, right? And that's very difficult for me to even still understand. And the best way to put it is actually one of my therapists had told me and said that you can't pour from an empty cup. And I said, wow, these analogies, really hit home and helped me to understand that it's true. I need to make sure that I'm the best version of myself to be able to pass that on to other people, right?
Yep. And I think the analogy I use quite a bit is the oxygen mask one, right? We may have talked about that, where you fly anywhere And part of their safety discussion is make sure you put your oxygen mask on before you put it on somebody else. And the purpose for doing that is you've got to take care of yourself first, because you can't help anybody if you're, in that case, passed out on your own. I tell business owners the same thing. Anybody I'm working with, right? They will drive themselves. They think that bootstrapping a company means they need to push, they need to drive, they need to constantly put in 15 hours a day or 7 days a week or both. And it's, at some point you will break. At some point there will be a breaking point that you hit. And taking care of yourself prior to taking care of your business is a critical part of this. So I like that too. That you can't pour from an empty cup. I think that's terrific. It's an easy way of saying the same kind of idea. So let's talk about the business side of this a little bit. You mentioned about being able to align guys to be caddies and, align people to be, manufacturing the clubs or redoing the clubs and some of that kind of stuff. But from Warrior Golf Academy as a business, I believe it's a nonprofit. What are some of the challenges you've had to getting to where you are today? And what are you looking at going forward?
So I like to clarify, I am an LLC. Okay. So I'm a not-for-profit, if you would say that, because I don't take any money, but I don't want to lose my vision to a board, right? I like that it's just me. I like that it's however I want to run it, but I still need to protect myself, right? And I had figured that if I create the business, okay, I'll show you where I'm at now. So funding has always been very, very difficult. So I get in-kind donations is the best way that I'm able to help people at the moment, because as I speak to more and more people, stuff is easy to get, money is hard, even from business standpoints, right? Sure. Stuff is easy, money is hard. So I can get stuff, and that's where I find that I'm most resourceful, is I'm able to then help veterans and first responders by not only getting the clubs, but then we can repair them ourselves and build that sentimental value into a set of clubs. So that way you feel special with them and you don't just go and sell them on Facebook Marketplace after I give them to you, right? And then after that, I donate my own time and use other people's space or golf course, and I can come to you and teach you how to play the game of golf, right? I took my time, I developed SOPs, and I wrote all of my stuff in military manner. So they're like field manuals and technical manuals. So I have a field manual. So Warrior Golf Academy, WGA FM 100-01 is the introductory to the fundamentals of golf, right? It's about 120 pages or so that I wrote with everything you really need to know to get into the golf world. And it's stuff you can find on the internet. It's not like I recreated the wheel. I just packaged it nicely in a way that is very easy to understand for someone's mind like mine. And a lot of other people that have been in military writing is very direct, and like this podcast, there's no fluff, there's no extra. Sure. You just get right into it. And that's what people want. I don't need to be telling them all this other stuff. Like, you came to me for help and I'm going to help you. Here you go. Here's how you play golf. And that's it. And that's the manual. You can carry it with you. And I have technical manuals then that get into like caddying. How do you caddy? What's a technical manual for being on the agronomy side if you want to learn how to cut holes in the morning? I created not only SOPs for every job position there is in the golf market. So that way is very easy to now, as a business, this is where I was trying to get to earlier, is I have something tangible, right? I was struggling on just, the idea is fantastic. A lot of people love to want to support, but if I say, send me $1, if I had everybody send me $1 that has seen me or heard of me or has followed me, I would have enough money to run this whole operation for years and years and years. But it's hard, right? And even asking, hey, help me, it's hard. And not a lot of people respond with with monetary donations. So now having something tangible to be able to sell to like municipalities by saying I have a complete SOP and onboarding program for every position there, and then I can make that tailored to you through my own like social media type videography, if you will. So I won't post it on social media, but we will do a video recording and make your onboarding not only with my materials that are printed, but then you have the visual to go along with it for each of the positions. So now I have something tangible to be able to sell. And I like being able to bring that to municipalities and offering them that while I can give that same material to the veterans and the first responders of the community with a certification saying that they have already been properly onboarded. And then they're able to work even part-time. So the golf industry is a big revolving door of people coming in and out, especially in the outside area, in the agronomy or working as an outside operations person. There's not a lot of people that want to do minimum wage jobs, right? And I mean, hey, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. I can't tell you how many other first responders and veterans who probably have trouble sleeping. And, 3 o'clock in the morning, hey, they're up. Well, if you could go out and just change the tee boxes, or maybe you cut new holes out there and you're just mowing the fairway, maybe that's some very easy stuff that you can do, and then be able to play free golf. So you get not only the therapeutic benefits of being out in the community, but then you also get the monetary value of not having to pay for your therapy, right? So you get to go out and play golf for free then. So I've found I have to get very creative with funding ideas and ways. And that's the same way as playing golf. I love playing golf, and that's the whole reason I got into the golf industry to begin with and working at a club and everything. But then I just saw that there was I couldn't stay there and affect the people in the way that I wanted to, right? And that's the benefit of creating something myself and I think so many other veterans become entrepreneurs because they see the same thing. That you want to affect and you want to help and you want to do things the way that you see it. And other people don't necessarily see it that way. And I don't need to convince them, right? I'll just go do it myself then. And I can find other people that agree with me, because there's plenty of people on this planet, right? And you just need to find a couple of people that you can affect, and it could change the world.
I spent 7 years of my life, at least the summers, working agronomy, working on golf courses. And there's nothing better than first thing in the morning, you get there before the sun comes up because you want to hit the greens, or you want to hit the fairways, you want to hit the sand traps. As soon as the sun comes up and you can see where you're driving, you want to be able to be out on the course. So there's nothing better in the world than standing on a course when the sun comes up in the morning and the dew's sitting on the green, and you just kind of breathe that fresh air and just look around you. Quiet, maybe some birds, maybe some squirrels or rabbits or something, but just other than that, just peace, right? And I can only imagine the therapy that does for people that have been in war-torn areas or any type of trauma, in fires and in battles or things here. It just the thing it must do for their mind, in allowing that peace and calm to come to them. So I appreciate you going out and doing that. I appreciate you pushing this forward. Anything we can do to continue to help you along the way, we will do so. Certainly donations, and I think I like the idea of the in-kind donations. Golf courses that are running tournaments that want to go that extra mile and offer that, the patrons of that tournament to have a caddy, right? Getting a hold of you and say, hey, can you align us with 18 or 20 of your first responders? Love to have them in and caddy for us for the tournament, right? That in and of itself would be wonderful, right? Doesn't have to be a major payment or anything like that. It's just, hey, bring your guys in. Let's give them some therapy, right? Give them a chance to be out and be social. That's the whole purpose of what you're trying to drive forward.
And that's it. And there's a lot of programs and there's a lot of people out there trying to do things, they say, but it's hard to sort out which ones are the good ones and which ones aren't, right? And you have a lot of people saying, I reached out to these guys and they didn't work. And I mean, it's really hard. I just look at it as if I was reaching out, right? The hardest thing you can do is to ask for help, right? And if I reach out to someone like me and I'm saying, hey, I need your program, I could quite literally be the one saving their life. Why would I take 2 or 3 days to respond to the email, right? Like, why does it take so long? Even if I don't have anything to say really right away, just get something out there like, hey, I got this. Give me a moment to like look into it, but I appreciate it so much. Thank you for reaching out to me, and I will be in touch. If you need anything, here's my phone number or something. But most people, and that's the caveat there, is most people say, if there's ever anything I could do for you, feel free to reach out. But then I reach out and people don't do much. So I say it, and I guarantee you, call me. I will pick up my phone, email me. I will write you back. Like, it's not hard to just be personal, right?
Yeah.
And to show people that, sorry, my website might not get updated because I'm the one that's got to do it, because I've been texting or talking or making emails. But as soon as I get the moment, I mean, as a one-man show, you got to put on the back burner what you can and prioritize what's really important. And that personal touch is what's really important. And we're losing it. We're losing it with all this AI today.
Well,
they're fooling you, but it's really not as personal. I mean, think how many times you put something on the website and you submit something and it's like, oh, one of our people will contact you back in 48 hours. And then it's like more than that and longer. And it's just, you don't feel valued.
well, worse than that is the trend, and we don't want to get too deep into it, but worse than that is the trend of people kind of ghosting the situation. I wrote a post in LinkedIn about this, a couple of years ago, and I did it right around Halloween just for that very reason. But just don't ghost me. If the answer is no, then say no. Or if the answer is I need more time, give me more time. But at the end of the day, somebody's looking for a response from you. And I understand that there's a lot of people out there that are kind of spamming you with emails and stuff. And if it's somebody you haven't talked to or somebody that you have no interest in, either delete it and then unsubscribe, or just drop them a quick note and say, yeah, I'm not interested. Have a great day. Good luck in your search, right? Something along those lines. But this whole idea of, I think they call it quiet quitting, when people just walk out of the office or just stop working and, eventually kind of work their way out of an office, or the ghosting. I mean, it's all because people don't want to have tough conversations. They don't want to put themselves in that position where they might be a little uncomfortable, where they might have to grow a little bit. And
100%.
Unfortunately, we as a society have started to accept those things more and more, instead of stepping up and saying that's not acceptable. Right? We need a response. I expect that if I drop you a note, if we've had a conversation about doing business together, or if you and I talk and you say, hey Russ, this is what I really could use from you, and then you never hear from me again, I mean, that's not respecting you. That's not respecting your business and what you're trying to accomplish. And I think as a society, we just need to get better about refusing to ghost people and responding when we know a response is needed.
100%. I agree. And it's just the mutual respect, right, for another person and their time. And we demand it in a lot of other areas of our life, right? And even as the world's evolving and changing, it's still happening. It's just different focused, right? And it seems like every few years it's changing and it's always different. And whatever the trends are that are being set in the big movements, but that's where the attention gets. And people just forget that, well, you should just pay that same attention to everything, right? It's not just about the ones or twos. Like DEI was a big thing, and then it was bad, and then it was here and it was bad, and then, but it's not just about that. Why not just be nice to everybody? Why does it have to be these little hot topics that pop up every couple years and spark huge controversy, and then they're good and then they're bad and they're meant to be good, but then they're manipulate and things, and it's just it's exhausting. I don't know how people do it, man. This politics is crazy, and that's why I'm like, I just want to affect the people that I can, reach out, and if I could be that person to help you, then I will. And it's got to be on a personal level, because Yeah, it's very tough these days. I think we're losing sight of a lot of that personal level when it comes to just people.
Well, you
So, well,
mentioned reach. Talk to me about the reach that you have. I know you're in Southern Florida, but where does Warrior Golf Academy go? Are you national? Are you statewide? What is your breadth and your reach right now?
sure. So currently I'm based out of Boca Raton. I travel everywhere here in South Florida, everywhere from Orlando, south, basically Tampa, down to Miami to the Keys. So I like Florida. I like the warm weather, but I do travel for events as well. I'm partnered with 100 for 22 Foundation, and they run golf marathons, so 100 plus holes of golf in a day for the 22 veterans that kill themselves every day, right? And we find an organization. The last one we did was in North Carolina for Big Red Barn, and we were able to help them raise money to support equestrian therapy for veterans and first responders. And it helped bolster the area in Shelby, North Carolina, right after the hurricanes had come through as well. So by doing these kind of community outreach and engagement events, we're able to affect multiple people and try to, shed some light on these things that are happening. And with that, I think that, it's amazing. These guys play so many holes of golf. I can't believe it. So Warrior Golf Academy, we partnered to provide the caddies for that. So that way, when they're hitting their ball out there, you know exactly where it is. You show up, you get there, and then you hit your next one. And we're raising funds this way to help impact more people. And I feel like my reach could be larger if I had more marketing, of course.
Sure.
But I put myself out here like this, as many podcasts as I can, as I try to write, I try to do social media as much as I can now. And everyone says you got to advocate for yourself. You're your own biggest advocate. So I got to be the one out there shouting my name at the top of the roofs, and maybe it'll stick to some people. And it has been. So the more I continue to bring these things up, because I feel like, especially accessibility when it comes to golf, golf is behind, right? There's so many other sports that have the adaptive. Even look at golf. They were looking at putting golf back into like Special Olympics. This should be in there. Why? There's all these other sports. Why is golf not in it? And maybe I think it's confirmed for 32.
Wow.
But next year, or the next one in LA, it's no, why not? Like, you could easily put it on. Finally, golf is starting to be looked at as something that could become more accessible. And I have been trying very hard to just put that out there. So anything I can do to help the adaptive golf community. There's one college too that's running an adaptive golf program, ASU, and out of Arizona State. And I found that kind of weird. I thought that's going to be my big pitch to get it going here, right? I'm in South Florida. It's Palm Beach. How come Palm Beach is not the first place? Or how come the home of PGA in Texas, in Frisco, Texas now, since they moved from Palm Beach, how come that's not the first adaptive golf? How come these should be the headliners, but it's not. It's Arizona State. Now, granted, Arizona is a huge golf community, but how come it's not in more places? This is something that should be taken root more, especially as technology allows for it.
Sure.
These are things that should definitely be there. There's no reason why. So the more I can advocate for these programs and get them out there, but the whole thing is just funding. And so much of the time it's just, money makes the world go round. And if you don't have any of it, you can't utilize this stuff. So trying to just, like I say, get creative. There's plenty of golf clubs out there. They haven't really changed much in 20 years. I'm playing golf clubs from the same year I was born, 40 years ago. There's nothing different. Maybe, the driver is a little bit different, but like all that other stuff, they're the same. I'm not going to be a professional. Okay. Like, I get that. I'm not going to go play on tour. I understand, but I can help somebody else learn the game of golf, and I can get them a beginner set of clubs. And if they're a 25-year-old set of, King Cobra, that oversized that your grandfather used to play or something, that's completely fine. It's not going to hurt. you can learn on those, right?
Sure.
And we're just have to give people the chance. And there's so many people out there saying, well, golf is so expensive, or there's these setbacks, or why not this or not that, or I never. And I just want people to say, yes, I can, instead of no, I can't, or reasons why I shouldn't do it. Just, there should be nothing holding anyone back from participating in anything that they want to do or try. And especially for the ones I can affect the most, like my veterans and first responders, that's my brethren. That's, I say, for me, I want to make sure I have the biggest impact that I can make myself, and it's in that community. So I can help everybody. I try adaptive golf and everything. I'm a resource for anybody out there, but I need to stay true, and there's only one of me. If I say I can do everything for free for everybody, then it's just goes nowhere, right? Loses value too. People don't see it as something. I could turn around and say, now I charge $1,000 an hour because I'm so, how would you say, such a niche instructor.
Sure.
And then maybe my book would fill up. But that's, I mean, which realm do you want to be? Do you want to be the guy that's so expensive that only the few can afford, or do you want to be that guy that's able to actually instill the change in somebody? And that's what I'm hoping to do.
Very good. Well, I think we're close to wrapping up. I appreciate you sitting with us. Anything else you want to toss out there? Anything that you want to promote that we haven't talked about yet? Anything coming up that we want to be aware of?
Just trying to think. Oh man, there's a bunch of stuff happened. It's a brand new year, 2025. I would say please check my website and look up a young man named Issa, Issa, last name Nlareb, Nlareb, out of France. He was born in Cameroon. He's playing adaptive golf. I brought him out here to go to the PGA show, looking for sponsorships for him. This young individual needs new prosthetic legs. He hits the ball over 300 yards off of the tee. His ball speed is up there with the pros. He's 115 mile an hour club speed. He's magnificent. Please, he's listed on my website, but there's currently nobody helping him. And he was born in Africa, in Cameroon, and caught meningitis after he went pro playing golf, and the medicine pushed everything to his extremities, and they had to chop his fingers, they had to chop hands, they had to chop his legs. So now, being an adaptive golfer, he has the opportunity to come here in the US and play actual golf in tour competitions in a very high level. And this story is not only one of perseverance and of grit and of just soul sheer, like, make you like, oh, I can't, but it will change your life. And if he is able to just he needs new legs, man. He needs new legs. So Lieutenant Dan, we need some legs for my boy Issa. So he needs new legs to help him walk, everyday legs to play golf, and new legs to help him run, so he can stay in shape and be the best that he can. But of course, nothing is free. He is willing to get out there and promote your brand and help you and be the best individual that he is. And I guarantee you, given the chance, he will be the best golfer you have ever seen. And that's the thing, is we just need to give those people a chance, right? And the sad thing is new legs for him, his copay is $5,000. But somebody out of Africa like that you will never, that's so much money, you can't even believe it. But $5,000 for somebody here in the US, that's like taxes on somebody's new watch. Like, it's ridiculous, and it's almost sickening that there's people struggling so much, and there's people with so much, and we're just trying to bridge the gap. So please help wherever you can. Anything is appreciated. The ask is always the hardest part, and I hate doing it, but I have to. So please, any way that you can help, reach out.
Appreciate that. Yeah, one of the things you told me when we first talked was you said everybody's an island. We're just trying to build more bridges. And I think that's a great message for everybody to understand. We've got to make sure we get Issa's information and your website information into the show notes, so everybody can follow that and get to you. So with that,
that's it.
We will wrap this episode of Legacy Unscripted. So if today's conversation sparks something in you, don't just let it sit. Take action today and build your future. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who may need to hear it. And if you've got a story to share or you want to connect, you know where to find me. Until next time, keep it real, keep it bold, and keep living your legacy.